Our mother's stories are our stories. And thanks to Okello Digital Library, we get to hear those stories. We get to hear how these people shape the people that we become. That's why on this week's episode of Thando Book Club, I got to sit down with award-winning and seasoned diplomat Ambassador Chipo, aka my very own mother. We explored her book choice, why she chose it, and I began to realize how her story has impacted mine. So make sure you tune in to this week's episode of Thando Book Club, where we go beyond the pages. Aren't I lucky to be sitting here with you, Ambassador Chipo, aka my mother? How are you, and welcome to the Thando Book Club.
Oh, thank you, Miss Karonga, for inviting me. I'm very happy to be here. I'm actually thrilled to be here.
Okay, so we're going to jump straight into it. I want you to tell me about the book that you chose and why you chose to get the conversation started.
The book that I chose is called Women of Resilience, The Voices of Women Ex-Combatants. There are about 9, if I'm not mistaken, interviews that were done of women ex-combatants. I'm sure some of the women are known, such as Margaret Dongo, but I zeroed in on Nancy Sangwema, she was interviewed by Chieza Musengezi.
Okay.
Why did I zero in on Nancy Sangwema? Actually, it's Dr. Nancy Sangwema. She happens to be a friend and a colleague.
Okay.
She's currently Zimbabwe's ambassador to the Republic of Malawi. She is one of the pioneers of women in diplomacy because she joined the ministry in 1980. That was 3 years before I joined the ministry.
Okay. All right. So this is somebody you know, somebody you respect, and you were excited to find her story in this book. Okay.
As I said, she's a friend and she's somebody I admire. Among so many of my friends who are ex-combatants.
Okay.
Should I go into the story of Nancy? Why she inspired me?
Yes, you can.
Nancy's background, she was born in Mutare. Her father was a teacher and he was also a retailer.
Okay.
Her mother was a house mother or a homemaker. But she also was a very, very strong woman because I understand Nancy's father died when Nancy was 5 years old and she brought up 7 children after that.
Okay.
I can't say Nancy came from a poor background. Her background is very similar to mine. Those years, not today's Zimbabwe, but yesterday's Zimbabwe during Rhodesian times, I could say middle class family because, as I said, her father was a professional teacher. Mine was in the police force because those were the only careers
Available
to men. And for women, it was nursing and teaching.
Yeah.
So our backgrounds are similar. But where we differ is that Nancy went to the liberation struggle. She went to Mozambique in 1976, which was a very arduous journey.
Yeah.
What she went through inspired me a lot. My journey was different from Nancy's because I left home. By the way, I grew up in Bulawayo. I grew up in Pelandaba. I went to school. My primary school was at Induba. My secondary school was Asha. After attaining my O-levels, as I said, the careers that were available for women were nursing and teaching. We had a lot of what they used to call sisters, nursing sisters, at Pelandaba. Pelanda was sort of like a middle class township. You had all these educated people, educated Africans coming back who had gone abroad, coming back to live in Pelandaba. It was also the home of our late Vice President Joshua Nkomo. We were politically aware of what was happening in the country.
Right.
I'm trying to talk about the difference because I talked about the similarities of our backgrounds, but the difference of how we later met. And
okay, let's just pause there for a minute, right? So this book, Women of Resilience, it's different stories of different ex-combatants who are female, and it's a real story about how their experience was, right? And so we get a bit of a sense of the history of the person and what led them to volunteer to go into to fight for the country.
And I would urge you young girls, the youth of today, to read this book because the stories are very inspiring. Why am I saying that? This sort of gives you the insight as to why the youth of yesterday, like us, were so committed to the liberation of our country.
Right.
I left home and I went to Malawi.
How old were you?
I was 18, going 19.
Okay.
I didn't know anybody in Malawi, but that was the journey some of us were taking because we had applied to do nursing, and that was the only way you could get out of Zimbabwe. Mozambique was not independent then. Mozambique became independent in 1975. You had Zambia, but we really didn't think about Zambia a lot, although some of my classmates ended up going to Zambia to join the liberation struggle. But some of us, we had our parents who wanted us to continue with education. I was very lucky in the sense that my father wanted me to go and further my education.
Right.
I would also talk about my spiritual side. My religion is Gutaramari religion. And in Gutaramari religion, the clarion call of the leadership was that every child should go to school, boy or girl. So from that set, I was the first one to go out of the country, to go and further my education, as it were. I went to Malawi, got on a train. I didn't know where the hell I was going. We didn't have relatives in Malawi.
Yes.
But all I knew was that I wanted to go abroad. Even Nancy says that she wanted to go abroad to go and further her studies. But she ended up going to the liberation struggle after the death of Herbert Chitepo. Because she comes from Mtare, and Herbert Chitepo, who was the president of ZANU, was from Mtare.
Yes.
So that inspired Nancy, and her sister also was in the struggle. Her sister, by the time Nancy went to to Mozambique. I think her sister was already in Dar es Salaam. Her sister was already married to Mr. Sithole. Mr. Sithole was the president of ZANU.
Okay.
Then after Herbert Chipo died, it was Mr. Sithole. So you see how rich her history is. It's very, very inspiring. So I went to Malawi. I met a lady on the train.
Yes.
And she said, "Where are you going?" She said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I am just going to Malawi. I want to go to the British High Commission." There was no British High Commission in Zimbabwe then.
Yeah.
So I went to Malawi. She said, "Oh, where are you going to stay? Where are you going to leave my daughter?" I said, "I have no clue. I'm just going there because I want to go and get my visa to go to the UK." She said, "You can come and stay with me." This is how generous Africa was. Because a lot of us who went out of our countries, who were looked after by other Africans. So I went to stay with her, and she had, that was Blantyre then, Blantyre huts. I stayed in a hut. I was coming from a house, a township, and I went and I stayed in a hut. I was with her kids. After a month or so, because the British were not very welcoming, the British Embassy or High Commission then, they were not very welcoming. I met some Zimbabwean students. Some of them became my life friends.
Yeah.
Like Auntie Auxilia, you know Auntie Auxilia. They said, "Chipo, come and stay with us. Where we're staying in this house, whatever house. And we'll look for food. You know, God will look after us." So I left the lady's house, and I went and I stayed with Zimbabwean students.
So, you know, what's interesting about this, it affects me directly, because if you hadn't gotten on that train in pursuit of your dream of education and furthering yourself, supported by Sekruz and Doga, I think the trajectory of my life would be quite different if you hadn't taken all those steps. I think maybe for you, you thought it was normal. It
was an adventure.
I guess. Okay,
yes.
That's good. And there you go. And then now you're in this house with these youngsters and you're figuring out your next steps.
Yes, we're figuring out. It's very interesting. We would, around this time in the evening, we would go to the market. It was a fish market. And we would pick up the fish heads. The fish heads, and we'll go and prepare. And maybe look for some meal and whatever, and we'll eat.
The vendors, the ones who are selling fish, they would just give you the fish heads?
Yes, the fish heads, yes.
Okay, that's why you love them till today.
So I stayed it was almost like a year staying in Malawi. And at some stage I thought, let me give up and go home.
Okay.
But then my friends, the Zimbabwean community, you know, we were like encouraging each other, "Oh, please, let's not go back home because we have a mission to accomplish. We must go and get our education, whether you want to be a nurse or whatever, but you come home and help our people." So after, like I said, a year or so, almost a year, I got my ticket and my visa.
Where did you get your ticket from?
I got my ticket from my uncle because my father died then when I was in a car accident. And I was told that I should not come back because Ian Smith was now looking for these kids who were getting out of the country. Remember, I think he had started to recruit people for construction. So, and also, what he had done, he had gone to the United Nations and he had said that we should not be given refugee status because now Zimbabwe was a sovereign state.
Right.
So you can imagine how difficult our life was. We were refugees but we were not recognized
Yeah.
as refugees according to the United Nations
Right.
principles for refugees. So when I got my ticket and my visa, actually my friend left before me. Then I went to the UK. And it was very interesting when I got to the Heathrow airport. I just went straight to a policeman because I had an uncle who was uncle and his wife. They were there already. I just went to the policeman and I said, I need to get to this place. And he was very, very, very kind. He looked at me, young lady from Africa. Yes, I'm from Africa. From Rhodesia. Yes, I'm from Rhodesia. He took me to a certain bus. He put me on the bus. He paid for my ticket. And he said, please, when you get to, that was Victoria, I think I was supposed to get from Heathrow, I was supposed to get to Victoria train station. Then he said, when you get to Victoria train station, make sure you put it on the next bus to Clapham Corner. That's where I was going.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. And these people just saw me knocking on the
Arriving.
door, arriving. And I think it was all my destiny that I should go there. A lot of things could have happened to us in Malawi. We could have died. We could have got married.
I like how you said that after we could have died, we could have got married. Okay.
But yes, I arrived there and I didn't stay long with the Zindogas. I went to Birmingham because I had applied to do nursing in West Bromwich. What was it called? West Bromwich, at the School of Nursing. So I wrote to them and I said, could I come earlier before the school opens? They said, yes, you can come. So I went there and I did my training. I came into contact with a Zimbabwean girl. She was from Bulawayo. She became my sister. She looked after me, who was already doing her training.
Okay.
But there were now lots of Zimbabweans coming. And we became student activists on the ZANU side.
Okay. I think one of the things that's striking me, of course, is both Dr. Nancy's commitment to her country, and I think that's something you resonated with, and how much that pushed you in your decisions as to how to move forward with your life and to seek out your purpose. So I think that that's quite a powerful theme, and I'd like to just sort of, get into that a little bit more.
Nancy talks about the challenges that they faced. She, with some colleagues of hers, what they went through. For example, when they were being trained, initially, there were some differences between the female combatants and the ex-combatants.
Okay.
When she got to Mozambique, because they walked it, when they got to Mozambique, they thought it was in her. They thought they're going to be trained as freedom fighters. But it took a while for them to be trained. But she said she kept on going because she knew that through her training as a combatant, she will come and liberate her country. How does it resonate with our story, with my story? I said I would go through this next training. It would be a fallback too.
Okay.
When I eventually do what I wanted to do. But remember, I didn't have any funds. So for me, the training was to prepare myself for what I wanted to do in future. Nancy says the challenges that she faced prepared her for what she eventually wanted to do.
Right.
So there's a meeting of minds for us. She went to Dar es Salaam. She said they were chosen. They went to Dar es Salaam. There were about a many girls, I can't remember, for military training. They were trained in Nachingwea. I will talk about Nachingwea later. But for me, for Nancy and the other girls, having gone through all these challenges, sometimes they'll sleep without eating, etc., etc. And when she went there, they thought they would be trained immediately, but it took something like 3 years for them to be trained. And she being a woman who wanted so much to come and free her country, she could have given up.
Yeah, the disappointment.
The disappointment,
Setbacks,
the harassment, the treatment that they were receiving. She could have given up, but she didn't. She said, I'll go and free my country. I'll also put my brick on the wall of nation building. So that inspired me to read Nancy's story. Nancy's story for me is very inspiring because if you look at where she came from, she could have given up. She could have died. She says in her book, in her story, that she could have been killed, but they never thought about dying. They never thought about being killed. All they thought about was coming to free Zimbabwe. So for me, I also went through these challenges, not exactly the magnitude of Nancy's challenges,
Right.
but I went through those challenges and I ended up going to university.
Driven by the same
Driven by the same spirit, driven by the same desire to come and free our country. By the way, if I take you back to I can't remember which year it was, I was still young. One of my uncles was arrested. They were the first group of freedom fighters that sabotaged the Msengezi area. Msengezi area, there were a lot of white people, white farmers there. And he was arrested. He went to Gonakudzingwa. His name was Tanga Asamzindoga. If one can go and check the records of Gonakudzingwa, was there. And can you imagine my father being a policeman and his brother fighting for the country? And my father had to go and pay. He was fined £100 that time. It was a lot of money.
Who was fined £100?
My uncle. They paid £100, and my father was very angry. That sort of propelled him to take early retirement because now he was he was politically conscious. He had been politically conscious before,
but now
he was very political conscious. He was like, no, this thing has to end. And they didn't give him all his pension or salary or whatever. But we had to make do. We had to make do with what my mother was selling, and he was also whatever. And that alone, even with the environment, as I said, with the Pelandaba was full of politically away people, the Ngomos, other people. Vice President Musika used to live, his family was living in Pelandaba, while the fathers were in Zambia. So we were very politically aware. Our desire, the youth of those days, was to come and free Zimbabwe. So I went this way. Nancy went to Mozambique. I went to UK. After I'd finished my nurse training, I went back to do my A-levels because I'd done the nurse training after my O-levels. So I went back to do my A-levels.
Yeah.
After my A-levels, we used to meet as youth activists, and as I mentioned, the people that I mentioned before would also become our career guides.
Okay.
Mr. Mtasa, Didmas Mtasa, as I mentioned before, all these guys were there. They were actually now showing us, you know, yes, you can be a nurse, you can be whatever, but there are other things that you can do, other careers that you can do to go and help build the new Zimbabwe.
Okay.
So I went to Coventry Polytechnic. Today it's called Coventry University. That's where I did my international relations. Why did you? Because a lot of others were doing governance and what have you, and what. But I thought I wanted to be a diplomat.
Okay.
Yes, I'd said, I'd read, I'd researched. I said, no, this is for me. I want to be a diplomat. I want to be an ambassador one day. Yes.
And I think that's sort of the drive that you share with Dr. Nancy and in her story, right?
Yes.
That sort of almost unshakable focus. And I think she sort of talks about that despite the challenges, despite everything that is thrown at her, and then you sort of end up in the end as both.
In the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Exactly.
Yes. She was one of the first diplomats to be posted. She was posted to Algeria. She was an accountant, so she went to Algeria, where she met, this is very interesting, where she met her then husband. Of course, it didn't work out, but from a very interesting family from Namibia. And I joined Foreign Affairs. We were the class of 83. I joined Foreign Affairs. And I came into contact with somebody who became very, very important in my life, and that was the Permanent Secretary of Foreign Affairs then, Dr. Stanislas Gorerajo Mudenge. He was my PS. He became my first ambassador in New York, and he also became my minister. Our goal when I joined Foreign Affairs, as I'd said, I wanted to represent Zimbabwe out there. I was focused. It was the tenacity that was in me that I wanted to be an ambassador. And of course, we started from AA to whatever, because not everybody who joins Foreign Affairs can be an ambassador. But the qualities they see in you, your commitment, your loyalty, how you carry yourself, the work that one does. So, yes, I ended up being an ambassador. But coming back to my sister Nancy, when she came from Algiers, she went around in the offices
Okay.
to see other ladies who were in Foreign Affairs, because diplomacy is a men's world. And she opens the door, and there is this lady, beautiful lady, and she comes, she says, hello, ndini Nancy, ndabva ku-Algiers. And you're like, how is it there? And it was so inspiring.
Yeah.
Because then in government, a lot of the officers, they were ex-combatants. They had been recruited into government. as I said, foreign affairs is a men's world. There were very few women in foreign affairs. And a lot of the PAs were also ex-combatants.
Right.
They're still there today. But what struck me about Nancy is that it was her friendliness. He is somebody who's already a diplomat. I mean, she's out there. We are as green as they come, and she comes in and she's welcoming the other women. And she's telling about her stories, Zekuondo. And it's fascinating. So that's how our friendship started.
Okay. And I like the fact that her voice is one of many of the female ex-combatants who've been put together in this book. And it was put together by Virginia Piri.
By Virginia Piri. And Virginia Piri is the one who suggested that I read this book. I had not read it. Yes, and kudos to her for the suggestion.
I mean, these are important stories.
She's also an ex-combatant. She was in Zambia.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think we've probably had her on the Thando Book Club before. I mean, she's a very vivacious, interesting, inspiring woman with amazing stories, and she knows the power of storytelling. So I think it's befitting that we do have this collection of stories like this, because we need to hear the stories of the women who set the foundation for all of us who've come after them. And on that note, I think we can look forward to the rest of this conversation when we come back, when we get into our rapid fire question segment, where I just ask you different questions and you answer them with the first thing that comes to mind. And then afterwards, we'll get a quote from the book that you love, maybe a passage that really spoke to you, and then we'll unpack that later. What's your favorite type of book to read?
Biographies.
Biographies? Okay.
And of course, politics.
That's obvious. Okay. What's your favorite book that you've ever read?
Yesterday I cried,
Let's see. Are you someone who likes to write in the margins of the book?
No, not in the margins, but I always have a notebook.
You always have a notebook?
Yes.
Okay, all right. If you were to write your first book, what would it be about?
I am preparing right now. I've got written some notes.
Okay.
About about my career.
Okay.
Yes.
So
as a diplomat, as an ambassador.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I would be interested in that book. Which country would you escape to write and why? Like if you were going to write that book, right? Which country would you go to and why that country?
Oh, I would love to go to Tanzania. Why would I love to go to Tanzania? In 2001, when I was promoted to the ambassadorship post, when I go to Tanzania, I was received like a prodigal daughter coming back home. I found that the people of Tanzania are very friendly. This is why most of our countries, when we were fighting for our liberation struggle, we were trained in Tanzania. I'm talking about the whole of Southern Africa. And also Africa, you talk about Guinea, all those countries, they had people living in Tanzania. So I would love to go to Tanzania. I love the people of Tanzania because they are genuine. They're so different from us here in Southern Africa because...
you don't think we're genuine in Southern Africa?
No, we are genuine, but the people of Tanzania, they are full of love. Tanzania is a blessed country. I don't know if us in Southern Africa are as giving as the people of Tanzania. By the way, in 1979, the British imposed sanctions on Tanzania for supporting the struggle for Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Yes. So I felt at home in Tanzania. And
that's where you
you
go to
add
write.
that island, Zanzibar Island. Oh, you are in heaven.
Okay. If you were writing a children's book, what would it be about?
I am very passionate about children because as a junior officer, when I was at the at the UN, at our permanent mission to the United Nations, I was the one officer who was dealing with the children's issues. I was in the third committee. Third committee deals with the rights, and we are the ones who adopted the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child.
Okay.
And in 1990, we are also the ones who drafted a resolution, had a resolution adopted to have the World Summit on Children, where our late president, President Robert Mugabe, became one of the speakers, but he was speaking on behalf of Africa. If people remember, people know about the Day of the African Child, I was the originator of the originator of the resolution
Okay.
of the Day of the African Child. We had a very committed executive director with UNICEF, and Mr. James Grant. So we sat down, a small group of us, we sat down, and we wanted to commemorate Hector Peterson. Hector Peterson was a South African child who was killed by the Boers in 1976 during the Soweto uprising.
Uprisings.
Yes. So I'm very passionate about children's rights.
So the book, if you're writing a children's book, what would it be called? Or what would it be about?
It will be about empowering our children from the day they are born.
Okay.
They should be aware of who they are. Especially the Zimbabwean child.
Okay.
The Zimbabwean child should be aware that they are a Zimbabwean child whose country was born out of the struggle. I'll be writing for the children not yet born, that they must. I'm very passionate about that.
Okay.
And if possible, I would make sure that every child has an African name. That the child knows that they are African. Okay. We are Africans. We are the chosen race. We don't know it as Africans, but we don't know how. We even don't know how rich our continent is. That I will be teaching the children about Zimbabwe and Africa in the book.
Okay. Okay, and the last question. What was the first book you ever remember reading?
Now I'm thinking of my O-levels, A-levels. My goodness, we read so many books, but the one that sticks in my mind is one called Androclos and the Lion by Bernard Shaw. Why did it stick in my mind? It was because it was a story about this huge woman and this small small guy as a husband. And so she used to harass that guy. She used to feed the guy. So it has stuck with me that whenever I see a huge guy, a huge woman, and
oh dear,
so
that small man, you always think of that story.
Yes.
Okay. So, as we kind of wrap up the conversation, I'd like you to choose a quote or a few lines from Dr. Nancy's story that resonated with you, and just say why you've chosen that quote.
This is Nancy when she was in Machipanda.
Okay.
I told you that she had been a teacher. Nancy says, at this point, many refugees were arriving from Gaza and Chipinge, and people were walking to Mozambique. We mustn't forget that. Many of these were children. They needed a teacher, and I was the best person to take up the position as I had been a teacher before. I taught maths and English at levels 2 and 3. This is somebody who had left home, faced a lot of challenges. Then she volunteered to be teaching the children in the refugee camps.
Yeah.
That
She
says
still
a
had
lot.
more to give, more to
Yes,
give.
she had more to give. No military training took place in Doroi. This is another place where she was. Eventually, the Chinese came. This is after 3-4 years. They were going to train people in Tanzania, in the camps that Frelimo soldiers had left. And this place is called Nachingwea. As an ambassador there in 2005, I took the SADC ambassadors to this place called Nachingwea to go and see where our soldiers used to live. Before then, the Frelimo soldiers, Samora Machel's place, it was underground.
Yeah.
So Nancy was there, and she says, Mozambique was now independent, so this is why you could find ma Zimbabweans Areikoko. Mugabe and Nkomo had joined hands to form the Patriotic Front. From about the 5,000 people in the camp, 50 women were chosen for training. I was lucky to be one of them. About 2,000 were selected altogether. See how long she had been waiting. She went there thinking that they would be trained immediately, but she waited for all this time.
Waited patiently for the thing that she wanted most, her destiny, her
The thing that
desire.
she wanted most.
Yes. So I think it's very, very clear that the parallels of your lives are just shockingly similar. I mean, you both ended up being ambassadors after quite an arduous and long journey to getting to, I guess, to that mountaintop, which says a lot about the commitment that you, the youth, had of that day to the country and to your dreams, despite whatever was being thrown at you. And obviously, we can't fit every aspect of history in there, but it's just really, I think, inspiring to know how much I think the women of your generation fought for us to be here and to be here now, which is an important story. And I'm glad that there's a collection of stories like this, and we need more so that we understand more about what it took and why it's important that we never forget. So obviously, you being my mother, this has added a different dimension to stories that you've told me here and there, or what I know about, different friends of yours. And it's just enriching, I think, my understanding of things. So I'm glad that you sat down and had this conversation. And I look forward to many more. And I'm sure we'll have one even this evening after the cameras switch off. But yeah, thank you so much for coming and sharing your story, as well as sharing this story with us too.
Thank you.
How lucky am I to get to sit down with my mother, who's also Ambassador Chipo Zindoga, and hear about a story that reflects her journey and also impacted my journey as it is today. Our mother's stories form our stories, and then they inform our future as well. So thanks to Akela Digital Library for creating a platform where these stories and more can be shared. Make sure you tune in to next week's episode of the Thando Book Club as we go beyond the pages.